Sixth race weekend of the BMW IBSF two-man bobsleigh World Cup. We're at Whistler, British Columbia, the venue for the 2010 Winter Olympic Games. The fastest ice on the planet, as evidenced by a slew of track records breaking what were previously thought to be almost unattainable speeds. Martin Haven and John Morgan ready for the first of our two runs here tonight to round out the North American leg of the tour. And John, this track is going to spring some more surprises tonight.
What Talladega is to NASCAR, this is to bobsledding. Fastest track on the planet, a super speedway built of course for the 2010 games, and track records are falling in every discipline. We've seen them all in the women's bob, men's skeleton. The start, it's pretty steep here. Get in, get down, get settled, because around this first curve you could throw it all away. And this first curve, they call it slingshot, and then fall away. You fall 7 stories in the first 3 curves. And now the speed. This is where it starts to rock at about 50 miles an hour. Here, curve 4, the way. A lot of problems in there so far the last couple days. Couple teams have tipped over. Now at a big 6, Luder's Loop. Up, down. Now you exit. Now you're going 75 miles an hour in a little chicane. And now this is where it's links, a 9-10 combination. It's just unbelievable speed. Shiver, I don't know why they call it shiver other than makes you shiver. 50-50s in this section of the track. Gold Rush. Thunderbird, 4-5 Gs of force. Speeds near 95 miles an hour last night. Finish, Martin, it's fast just watching this pictures.
Yeah, it certainly is. It looks like it's speeded up. I guarantee that's absolutely real time. 95 miles an hour on sheet ice. As a car driver, you've just got to think that that would be insane in a car. Doesn't make it any less insane here. There's all your athletes keeping themselves warm at the top of the track. Not quite sure what the temperature is going to say, but it has definitely dropped. Walking around now, there's no more snowy slush. It's all crunchy and icy, so this ice is going to be very fast indeed. In the women's bobsleigh race, Kaylee Humphries beat her own track record that was set in the Winter Olympic Games by no less than 18 hundredths of a second, nearly 2 tenths quicker. Yoon won a career, won with Rico Pater last night, his first ever win for one, second for Rico Pater in two-man, and one now takes the lead of the World Cup standings. Quite an astonishing achievement for one and the Korean team. And a great legacy left by their coach Malcolm Lloyd, who is particularly being remembered here at this Canadian track this weekend. This is kind of home turf until the track in Pyeongchang opens in the spring for the Koreans in the run-up to the 2018 games. Well, air, 0 degrees, just about, ice -3. Tell you what, the snow where the spectators are standing, that'll be crisp and crunchy underfoot as well. This track is going to be like glass and lightning fast. 21 sleds in the field, headed off by Justin Crips of Canada. Stephen Holcomb, who won the two-man race here the last time we were here 3 years ago, goes off second. Rico Pater third, last night's winner with him. Yoon goes off fourth, so they may well have even faster ice conditions under their runners than they did yesterday. Justin Crips of Canada, the 28-year-old, born in Hawaii with Alex Kopacz behind him. What a starting combination this duo have turned into. They steam like racehorses, and boy, they get off like racehorses as well.
Well, they're the Rabbits, first guys out of the blocks here tonight, and they have formed an unbelievable start team. 478, pretty much what they did last night. Start record's 470. Crips just missed that out of the medal last night. He wasn't too far back, but the race last night was sensational bobsledding. 4 teams separated by 200s, the top of the leaderboard. Never seen anything like that in my life.
See the marks on the track. One of our forerunners crashed on the way down the mountain. So just a salient reminder that for the inexperienced, this track can be difficult. So Elfie Willemsen hanging it all out and crashing in the women's race, going for gold. 1:35.8, that is great speed from Crips.
85 miles an hour there. He could top 94 here.
That's a kilometre an hour quicker than he went yesterday. 1:50.3. Here we go.
Well, we knew it was going to be quick, but wow.
Track record was set in the Olympic Games by Thomas Florschutz and Richard Adjeiotto at 51.57. We're now down to a 39 on the first sled. That's 1800s quicker, just like Kaylee Humphries took 1800s out of her record in the second heat.
Well, it's home track. 50-50 curve, where all the speed is generated on the bottom, and a little bit of articulation split there in the cowling, but Justin Crips, track record holder at the moment.
He's able to drive faster down this track than he'll be allowed to drive anywhere in Canada on the road. And we could go quicker. Next up, Stephen Holcomb. On the brakes tonight, Sam McGuffey. Holcomb keeping his brakemen healthy and trying to keep himself healthy as well. Crips has taken the lead, smashed the track record. He was 8th last night. Holcomb was just in front of him, 7th place finish in last night's race. Double two-man weekend here. We had double four-man weekend in Park City.
He's going to have to get in the low 90s here to have a chance. Last night, 97 in the first run, 91 in the second run.
Football player McGuffey is one heck of a pusher. 4.90. Carlo Valdez was behind Stephen Holcomb last night. He's going with Nick Cunningham tonight.
Holcomb, 7th, 1st, and 7th in the North American swing. He didn't do very good in Europe. Excuse me, 1st, 7th in the North American swing.
1015, just a whisker behind Crips in terms of speed and in terms of time, 2/10 back.
That's relative to the start, so he's equalized the start deficiency.
Had so much pace below here, out of the Gold Rush Trail, the last few corners, he was absolutely stunning last night.
I don't think he's going to do anything here tonight. He's going to need 150 speed. He's got that.
Last night he had 154.5 and tonight 150.8, same as Crips.
It's pretty good. Crips beat him by 1200s at the start and 1200s at the bottom. It's a pretty good run.
Normally when you're inside the old track record by about 1/10 of a second, you're pretty much going to be in the lead. This time he's not.
Fastest Holcomb's ever been down this track. Of course, he's the 2010 Olympic champion in four-man bobsledding on the track. And if there's any doubts about his abilities at 35 years old, they were silenced from Lake Placid when he drove to a gold medal with a deficient start time.
He's got a smile back on his face.
Yeah, he's got a little.
Listen,
positive.
Form is temporary, talent persists. That's what we know about Holcomb. Now, one of last night's joint gold medalists. How excited were these guys and the Koreans when they claimed the gold yesterday? Well, go to our Facebook page and you can see where there's a time-lapse camera in the winner's box. And the moment of jubilation when they realize they've won is quite exceptional to see.
Unbelievable moments last night, historic. Rico Peter just keeps doing it.
Well, he won the last race last year in Sochi before the World Championships. He's now won the 5th race this year.
Yeah, decent starts.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's skid there. That'll definitely cost. Ooh, do you see the way the sled went around that second curve there? That's fall-away curve, we call it.
Well, you said all year long that he gets speed despite hitting everything in sight. He's hit a bit less in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Feel rough there in the transition off 6 into Luder's Loop.
Not bad though, 2200s back.
Yeah, but this is where he starts to do it, right here. He's got, these Cydia sleds are flying. Can't believe that he couldn't believe he won the gold medal last night.
135.6, very good speed. He's going to close the gap down. Could be within 1/10 of the leader. 150.1, not quite as
big
quick
hit
as
there,
the
ducks his head, gets close to Holcomb. 194.1.
400s behind, 200s behind Stephen Holcomb, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, Holcomb got the best lines down the track. Crips with the best start time. Again, him and Kopac's have really formed a great, formidable start team. And Crips is just starting. Look at his curve 1. Now watch this. You can't do this up here. I mean, this is, now you're falling 7 stories down. And then the next curves, here's 50-50. Looks like he gets on there pretty good.
Yep.
His nemesis, here's the exit of the 50-50 section of the track, and his nemesis was that curve 1 to 2.
Yeah, just took a little bit too much at curve 1 and skidded down off it.
Such precision you need up there.
Yeah. And it's very skiddy at the top. There's not so much pressure for the sleds to grip with.
Here we go.
Well, Yoon Jung-won of Korea and Young Wo-seo, his brakeman.
Let me say, the World Cup leader.
Yes.
Can you?
First-time gold medalist.
You said that before the season started,
No,
that the Koreans would be leading the World Cup.
When we left Europe, Francesco Friedrich was undefeated in 2-man and had won 2 of the 3 4-man races.
Big mistake there. 484. That's not a very good start either. Look at this.
Oh, don't forget how skiddy he was yesterday as well.
Not like that, though. Not
as bad as that.
That is deficient.
2200s back already. Now let's see what this sled can produce in terms of pace. 100.3. That's the lowest speed we've seen at that point.
Well, he was superb in the bottom part of the track yesterday, but he didn't have a mistake like that up in curve 1. It might be.
Now he's neat and tidy. Needs 136, 135 flat, not as quick as he needs.
He's probably going to get into the 20s here. He's good in the bottom, but his nemesis was the top.
151 towards the line. Oh, long skid, and the brakeman sat up before they got to the timing eye, and that won't help.
Get the brakes on.
Yeah,
he did there.
Need to feather them on early, but he was definitely sitting up higher than he needed to be. 151.2.
We only need to see the entrance into the sled. Looks like they got in late, and then around curve 1. I mean, that. Other than that, you know, that cost him 4/10.
I think the driver gets his foot hooked up. Let's see when he's trying to get in, doesn't get in clean.
And now the sled's in a skid. Look at it. They did not have a cohesive. Lucky they didn't hit the wall.
Yeah.
But then as they exit the curve 1, watch this. He's still trying to find the D-rings. You won't see anybody come down that bad.
He's got it, but he's got his hand on the controls.
Watch the brakeman lift his head up here before the finish. Up. And I hope he didn't put the brakes on. No, I don't think he did.
You would have seen the ice there. You really would have seen the ice. Well,
the World Cup leader.
So eager to do well here. So eager to do well for Goma Lloyd there, coach.
They have done well.
Oh, goodness me, yes.
Historic.
5th yesterday evening, Oscars Melbardis and Dums Driskins. I spoke to their coach after the race and said, how is he? Is he okay? And he said, he's okay. He's not good, but he's okay.
Different color right ankle tape for Dams Driskins. He's got that Achilles injury, and the 2 biggest men in the competition go off at a 486 start normally. That'd be about a 474, maybe this track record. They own a lot of track records at the start. I think they broke 5 track records at the start last season, and they're big. And, you know, they won the World Cup title last year in all disciplines.
Well, last night was the first time he's driven a bobsled since December, so he is definitely race rusty. They haven't either of them got the speed at the start, so he is now fighting for positions in the World Cup rankings to stay in the top 10 draw for the World Championships, and that's why he's racing when he really probably shouldn't be.
Well, he's moving, flying on the bottom.
Oh, here we go. Top speed at the bottom. He avoids the wall. 152.9.
Look at Sanders Bruce.
95 miles an hour.
First guy to hit the 95-mile-an-hour mark. Holcomb did last night.
300ths off the lead.
And the Canadians, who are ahead of him, beat him by 800ths at the start.
1500ths inside the old record. Oh, look
at his back. He's not walking normally right there. Look at the take on here. Perfect. Look at the heads as he gets off the curve in the 50-50. Here's the rear ends angle of the same spot. That's how to do it. Get through that 50-50. You only got about 6 inches to work with.
Incapacitated at the start, hurting in the sled, and he's 300ths off the lead. Oscars Melbardis, you are a man among men. Alexander Kashnoff, his best ever result on this track, the silver medal in four-man 3 seasons ago, but he won his first World Cup race in this North American tour, and Kashnoff absolutely on the crest of a wave. The Russians came here pre-season to train, so they're not as intimidated by the track as some of their rivals. Mianhs wants to make sure that they're not scared of going anywhere. He wants them to perform everywhere to the same standard, and that's a great attitude for the team to have.
Talked to Pierre Lueders about, they said, hey, your driver's doing great. Well, he doesn't get 12 very good, which is down in the Gold Rush section of the track. Plus, he lost the race last night in the finish curve. He lost by 100th.
Top speed, 102 kilometers an hour. The Russian sled is flying. This Vimmer really likes this track, and Kashnoff really letting it fly. 134.9, second quickest.
And this is where the problem was in the finish curve, the way he got on, Pierre. So that's where he lost the race last night. He lost by 100.
And he's in the lead of the line. A track record. Pierre Lueders, what a big smile when he smiles.
I went up there to tell Pierre what a great job your driver did. His first ever World Cup two-man medal. He criticized the way he was in 12, criticized the way he was in the finish. Well, obviously it worked because he just pulled off a track record.
It's only what Kashnoff will do to himself. That's what they all do. We go, what a great drive, you were this, you were that, and they went, yeah,
sixth
up 12.
best start. Sixth best start. Look at the lines here.
Just avoids the wall. That's in the,
out of Lueders' loop. And watch these, how quiet. He hit that perfectly, the take on. And here too, watch the heads. That's everybody does that. Now this is down in the Gold Rush section of the track where it's, ooh.
Boy, he let that fly, and Alexander Kashnoff leading this race. Next up, Nico Walter, the German, was in 12th position last night. He's got Christian Poser behind him tonight. Was supposed to start yesterday. Marco Hubenbecker stepped in his place.
The old man, as I said, Martin, you're going tonight. He says, yeah, I'm the old man. Called off the bench.
Goes out of blocks like a sprinter there, Nico Walter.
You know, he got 12th last night, and he's still second in World Cup standings.
Well, that's because Francesco Friedrich pulled out at the last minute after a first-run injury and didn't compete the second heat. And not to sit in and drive, he must have been in an awful lot of pain last night, and we still don't know whether he will come.
He got a better start here with the old man on the brakes, Martin Putza. He's a veteran of Andre Lange's sled, gold medals in 2006.
100th in the lead. Christian Poser's wife, Jamie Grubel-Poser, took the silver medal in the women's race earlier this afternoon. Are they going to be in second place? Are they going to be on the podium?
Nico Walter here. Nico Walter's losing a little time here in the bottom.
Top speed though, 135.8. He was 135.6. 150.6 at the bottom. Quarter of a second away, but the numbers look good.
A lot of time on the bottom, and he's just barely ahead of Juan. This is for the World Cup points lead.
Just barely ahead of last night's winner, you mean?
Yeah,
I know. Well, talk to René Spies earlier on, and he's saying even when their drivers are getting a good drive, he said, you've seen it, we know it, speed is dropping off the sleds, but this wasn't the best.
No, right here in the 50-50, I think there's too much pressure in the crossover there. Look at it here.
Digs it off.
Yeah, there's a little rough transition down on the Gold Rush. Up before the Thunderbird, and the Thunderbird is where there's 4, maybe 5 Gs of force.
485 start.
I'm not happy.
He's not happy. They performed to such an exceptional standard. Well, here's our four-man World Cup points leader. I love that smile of Max Arndt. Martin Putzer behind him in the two-man.
So I stand corrected. I thought Putzer was on the other side.
On the other one. Arndt currently lying in 8th in the four-man, in the two-man results. 4th place in Altenburg, 6th place in Lake Placid, their best results.
I stand corrected. Putzer's here. That's what I was talking about.
You read a line down. That's okay. We'll go with that. 9th last night, Maxi. See if he can produce better. 488. That's a good start.
Well, Putzer was the guy I was referring to. Posner with Nico Walter, as you said, and you know Max is a four-man guy. And he's the World Cup leader in four-man and multiple world champion in four-man, and here he is. you know, just trying to get trips in for the four-man race, but there's no four-man race here.
Yep.
So if there's anybody at a hindrance here, it's him.
Well, what happens now is he keeps his points up, and even if he doesn't go in two-man in the World Championships, then the next German sled will get that position. 134.2.
It's pretty good.
83.4 miles an hour.
He's flying.
2 tenths away now, 3 tenths away. Speed at the bottom, not good enough. 149.7.
Starts flying. Oh, I think he was going to slap something there. 8th.
Yeah, 8th out of 8.
Well, you know, that was, so far the Germans are in 6th and 8th, and now the former World Cup leader comes up next.
Well, or does he?
And he's going to be sitting in the sled.
We're going to wait till we see who's at the top.
50-50, as good as it gets. He hit the take on perfectly.
Yep.
But German sleds, just you know, look at the carving here of the ice. It looks as smooth as you get.
He knows how to drive this track, but the sled is not carrying the speed that it should do. If you put them in a customer Latvian BTC sled, I think they might do better. Well, here is the German sled. So this is the story of the weekend so far. Francesco Friedrich pulled out of the second heat at last minute. We heard, first of all, a hamstring, but we believe John had torn adductor, and that is how much pain he was in. He couldn't face driving yesterday night. Now,
he had to be in some unbelievable pain not to come out here and sit in the sled. He would have finished 14th or 15th.
Candy Bauer hooks it off the top.
And that's a big man to hoof it off the top with.
Well, let's see what he starts in. 5:25. Our leader started
now, how could he be in that
quicker.
much pain last night and be able to do this? I mean, it's not like sitting in the sled and the vibration's not aggravating that groin injury.
He's just going to suck it up, Buttercup. He's clearly taped up to the 9s, probably had a cortisone shot or something else to try and numb the pain this afternoon.
I'm surprised they even sent him, though, because...
Well, look at the drive he's putting in, though. What a really nice set of lines. 100.7, quicker speed than Max Arndt, off a third of a second slower. 135, this is the second fastest speed the German sleds have seen. This is why he was our World Cup leader in 2 and 4. 151.1 across the line. That is top speed of the 3 German sleds, and he sat in at the top.
Well, that tells you, you know, again, you and I fall out of an airplane. You're a 100-pound guy. I'm a 200-pound guy. I'm going to fall faster, quicker, but eventually we're going to reach maximum speed at the bottom, and that's what Friedrich just did.
But he reached a higher maximum speed with a sled that weighs the same. His drive lines were better.
Look at.
Yeah.
Little red bag. Look at him. What a sportsman this kid is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's wounded, but this is what about the season. It's all about sucking it up.
Yep.
Here's at a Luder's Loop, and watch the entry into the curve here from the backside. Pretty smooth.
Little skating, couple of bumps there.
Seems a little more slippery up here tonight, doesn't it?
Our replay guys in the back of the truck are finding mistakes that we don't see first time down. Well, he's still got a smile on his face rather than a grimace, but flight back to Germany might not be comfortable sitting down for those 12 hours. Ugo Zalims and Intars Dambis yesterday in 4th position. Normally, if you're 200s behind the leader, you expect to be in the medals, not 4th. He was 200s off gold. Bronze was 100th off gold.
Shocking, just an unbelievable result.
Just tough break to be in that kind of a finish.
And he crashed in training the last day of training. So, starts, I mean, he got great starts last night, sub 80, 42, that's second best start. Nice out of curve 1.
Lies 4th in the World Cup rankings, worst result 10th. He's had now 2 5ths, 2 4th places in the last 5 races.
The most veteran brakeman on tour is in the back seat here, Inters Dambis. He's been around longer than you and I have.
103.2, the fastest numbers we've seen so far.
Little skid there, though.
This is him trying to get some payback for last night. Top speed at the next clock, 135.8.
He's
131.
Fastest he's ever been down this track.
That's 4 kilometers an hour slow. That can't be right. Top speed already 150 at the bottom. 151.5 we've seen. 153.9.
right there, fourth.
How did it get away from him at the bottom of the track? He's 12 hundredths away behind Melbardis, his teammate, by 1. So he's in 4th place, 100th out of a medal again tonight.
No, out of that shiver curve.
There's not going to be too many sleds go quicker than that.
This is out of Luter's Loop. Watch the back end. She's got a skid going there. Now watch the back end here.
Again,
come up a little bit.
Well, like Friedrich, just that little skate on.
Yeah, and then here.
Height.
Little height there. That's an 11. That's a shiver.
More height than you'd want.
Yeah.
That's a few meters to the line down the track.
He was masterful up top.
Yeah, he led till the midway point, but he now lies in 4th place behind Oscar's Melbardis, Justin Crips, and our leader, Alexander Kashnoff of Russia. 10 sleds down, 11 to go in this first of 2 heats, race 6 of the BMW IBSF two-man bobsled World Cup. Nick Cunningham back with Carlo Valdez. Last time they pushed together, they were right up at the top of the field. Let's see if they can improve on yesterday's 14th place finish for Cunningham. Valdez went last night with Stephen Holcomb. And Cunningham with Frank Del Duca on the sled, 489. They started 489 last night as well in the first push.
Problems he had last night.
1 to 2 to 3.
Yeah. You know, you got a guy in the brakes from UCLA, track and field athlete, and you got a Boise State rodeo rider in the front seat.
1:01.5, that's the 3rd fastest speed at that point. He is in the lead still now, drifts away a fraction of a second.
Skid.
These 134s. Oh, it's horrible. 135.6. Insane speed, and that's why he's letting it go. In the second run yesterday, he said nothing to lose, we're just going to let it go. And here, he does the same, 150.6 across the line. Well, just too wild.
He just got away from him, but I bet you still that's the fastest he's ever been on this track.
135.6, insane speed there. Rico Peda did the same speed, a little more controlled at the bottom of the track. It drifted away from Cunningham, as you say, a bull rider, and that was all his bull riding skills to hold on to that baby.
Skid here. And then when you skid like that, and you get on the wrong side of the entrance of the curve, let's see the back end here. So now he's going to go in high. Look how high he gets. Now he's got to come out a little bit.
Well, looks good. He's right
good
in the middle of the drive lines. That was not a bad run through the corner at all. But here, late height, he should be coming down here. Watch him haul it off.
A little airborne of the runners. That might be the first hellacious ride through the 50-50 part of the track.
That's why Alfia Wilhelmsen crashed in the women's race. She didn't haul it off. She tried to keep it going for the speed. Next up, Oscar's Kibermanis, 18th yesterday. Mattis Miknis behind him tonight instead of Yannis Janssens.
This kid's in a slump. Look at that, best start, tied for the best start. He's just in a slump.
He just sank like a stone last night.
Just to have him come back out here, I'm sure he gets a lot of pep talks. And, you know, he's young, 22 years old, and he just this start time, you would expect him to be fast. He's just not posting the results, but we are seeing
2,500s up, but where's the speed? Only 99 kilometers an hour, and that's why he's lost all that time. Where's the speed?
Well, drive lines into that Luter's Loop, exit of the chicane, and 910 back end really was way out of speed control.
He's gone from 2,500s up to 4/10s back, and out the lines, nearly 6/10s back.
They're perplexed. This kid doesn't know. The athlete, look at the athlete that he is. Best start time in the competition, 4:76. And he's young. He's 22 years old, and last year, he's always around the top 5, top 6. He's just oversteering. You want to see it? Watch no, he's got a skid going there. He's got a tap, going to go down the middle. Now watch the back end of the sled here. Now he steers. Look how much he's steering there. That's a pretty horrific speed line. Look at him. He's just...
Needs to get back to what he knows. Doesn't know this track at all well, and it's showing, I'm afraid, for Oscar's Kibermanis. Well, next up is Chris Spring, does know this track well. In the four-man race here, 2012, he was in the bronze medal position with Tim Randall, Adam Rosenke, and Ben Coquel for Canada. Now in the two-man race, last night, 5th place with Lascelles Brown. He's got King behind him again. This is the track where Spring won his first ever World Cup medal in that four-man race. He was 5th last night, and he wants a medal, and he wants it bad. Last night, 481, their first push. Tonight, look at King go, 42 years old, 479. Thank you very much.
Chris Spring counts every race he's in for Canada, and he was, last week was his 100th.
His 100th.
This is 102 races for Canada. A little bit like Rain Man stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. Former Australian pilot. Before that, he was a cricket player back home in Darwin in the Northern Territories.
Fun guy. 1600s lead, too.
Little tap there, but the speed is good. Where's he going to be? 134, 135.
This is all good here.
135.3. Springer is driving himself into a really nice position. 1/10 of a second in hand, still down to 400.
Right to the 100th. Could be a track record. No, he's not.
And he is in second ahead of Justin Crips. He halves the gap. 400s off the leader, 400s in front of his teammate who's third.
It's his best heat of the season.
Best heat of the last 2 seasons, I think.
I don't think he ever won a World Cup medal in two-man. He's won them in four-man.
Well, now you're asking.
I think 2 years ago he won a World Cup medals in four-man. 4th a couple times. Not bad. Come on.
Not bad for a couple of guys who are out here to enjoy their sliding.
50-50. That's pretty good.
That could be 400s. It was a little bumpy.
Now this is 13, 14 section part of the track. 15. That's 50-50 from the front. And here, this tap, this didn't help.
Well, that's, again, 400s at the line off the lead. That's where those 400s disappeared to, because he was coming.
2 or 300s at least.
Good stuff. Really good to see the smile back on his face. Springer's been in the doldrums for too long. Next up for Korea, 11th yesterday for Jong-Yoon Kim and Kwembo Kim. When we raced here 3 years ago in World Cup, Jong-Yoon Kim was pushing Yoon Jong-won in the two-man sled and then drove the four-man sled. Goma, their coach, did what every good gardener does. You take a strong plant and you take off the next best bud and you plant that separately. And that's what he's done, 493.
Says he's in the lead with the green numbers. I don't understand that.
Well, tied for the lead with Kashnoff, who started 493. Still tied for the lead with Kashnoff, who started 493. Little tap there. He goes a whisker behind. 100.6. Kashnoff had 102.
Ooh, up there the lip. Luder's loop. And see how he enters here. Not bad. This looks like a better run than last night. Last night he had a horrific first run.
Now can he tidy it up? 135, very good speed down the bottom. Out of the Gold Rush Trail and hunting a position in the top 10. Clatters across the line, 12. And it is 12th.
He beat Kibermanis. He, of course, beat Friedrich, who had to sit in the sled. I don't know if Friedrich's going to make the second run.
But one sled won't, so essentially the last 2 or 3 guys are going to be aiming at Francesco Friedrich.
He will make the second run. Look at the runner tips here. Into Luder's loop, up near the roof, but he holds it. Does he dive out of here? No, he comes out of here. Nice exit into the chicane. That's a little bit of a bend away.
Yeah, very disappointed with his drive.
There.
Feeling the pressure of being on their best known track, the track they know best, and trying to perform well for Goma Lloyd. Alexei Stulnev for Russia with Maxim Mochrusoff behind him. They finished in 10th place yesterday. Stulnev had a good first run. It sort of all came a little bit unstitched in the second one. He had Maxim Belugin behind him yesterday. Red coat, one of the Korean race officials who'll be looking after the track in Pyeongchang when it opens in the spring.
It's another big man on the back seat here. Stulnev has just been hanging around. Yep. 18, 15, 11, 14, and 10 last night. Pretty good start, 49. Start speed, he just erased it with that little bit of a minor skid that's very costly.
That's kind of the story of this weekend here. Few little errors.
You heard a noise.
Yeah. Tap on the wall, just behind. 100.1 is very decent speed. 62.2 miles an hour. Long skids.
A little slipperier tonight.
Taking it out of the Valna sled. He's not going to produce the numbers he wants here. He won't be in the 130. Well, he is in the 134s. It's a very forgiving sled, isn't it? 83.5 miles an hour, but he's 4/10 back, 5/10 back now. He'll be 6/10 behind at the line. Not quite 51.83. He ties for 12th place with Dongyeon Kim of Korea.
10th best start, 12th best finish. That means he did not drive that well. But this is about where he finishes. 10th last night. So he's still got a chance. He could move up a couple spots. Well, he's tied with Kim.
Yeah. 150.4 at the bottom, 93.5 miles an hour.
Runner tips here. Not good. Skid in chicane, and look at the back out of the sled, and that's causes all sorts of steering.
That's why he didn't steer. He wanted it to just drift him onto the line going into the big left, and it did, but the skid cost him lots of time. Alexander Kashnoff, Chris Spring, Justin Crips, the top three. Chris Spring won bronze with Jesse Lumsden in Calgary, 2013-14.
We're just getting corrected by Chris Dornan, the PR guy for
surprised
Canada
Jesse
Bobsleigh.
Lumsden hasn't been on.
Yeah.
A former partner in crime in this booth.
Thanks for that, Chris. We wish you were standing behind us because we're not always correct. We're close.
Nikita Zaharov with Maxim Belugin behind him. Belugin went with Stulnev yesterday, 493. Who went with Zaharov in yesterday's race?
Boy, they shuffled up.
They
shuffled up these brakemen for the Russians. And none of them are small.
200s off the lead. Let's see how close he can stay.
His time drifted on the bottom in the wrong direction yesterday.
102 kilometers an hour is good speed. There's only been one sled faster than that, and that was Uga Zalim's. 132.7 though, the speed is dropping off. A mere 82.5 miles an hour. Through Thunderbird and across the line. Where's he going to be? Top 10? No, 14. 200s behind Alexei Stulnev.
Tied to Kibermanis.
So we got a tie for 12th, Kim and Stulnev. Tie for 14th, Kibermanis and Zaharov.
And they're only those four sleds are separated by 200s.
Yeah. Well, we've got our lead group separated by 800s. 200 separating these four.
Back ends and a skid. Now he's tapped twice. Watch the entrance to the corner. This is the section they call the links, the 9 and the 10. Little straightaway here, then another big curve. And not bad. Just came out on the wrong side of that straightaway. That means too much steering through the curve. He was 2,500s behind at that point.
For the Netherlands, Ivo de Bruin with Igor Brink tonight on the back of the sled. Dennis Venka pushed yesterday, and he's helping there with the sled, laying it on the ice.
Let's go, Ivo. Come on, man. Come on, let's go.
So Ivo finished in 17th position. Good first run, but it just got loose on the second, got away from him.
Well, it's just great to see them in the competition with the beautiful orange colors.
certainly can't fault the team for presentation on what most teams would probably spend catering most weekends.
They're working on nickels and dimes. $4.95.
$4.95, that's the decent getaway. The mighty Russian team just produced a $4.93 for Zarov.
Well, the Bruin's got talent. He's had it. We've talked about it last night. Just needs some support. Just can't come out here and compete when you have 13,000 euros to work with for the whole season, like the Dutch Olympic Committee gave him.
200s off the leader, now to 0.2 of a second back. Now, will he be in the 134s, 133s, 132s here? Oh dear, 129.3. I think Wim Normans from Eurotech will be investing a little bit of time and effort in this sled to keep the Dutch competitive. 149.5 across the line in 16th, ahead of Francesco Friedrich.
7,700s back, which is about similar to where he was last night.
Well, he was 200s off at the start and through the first clock, and then it just drifted away incrementally. Not really a horrible looking drive.
Pretty much in control. This is down here in the shiver part of the track.
It's perhaps the worst exit there, that little flop off.
Then the shiver, you get into the 50-50, you know, he looks like he steered off there. A lot of steering right there,
A little bit, and that all helps to rob you of a bit of speed, but if you don't get down, you don't go back up to do another run.
Hey, Mom, hey, Bob.
That's Dutch for you there. Next up is Simone Bertazzo of Italy, with Simone Fontana again behind him. His go-to brake man. Francesco Costa is usually in the four-man sled and occasionally in the two-man. 15th yesterday. Look at Fontana, head down and charging, trying to get all that energy going forward.
Listen to the sound. Look at that perfect exit. Runaway truck.
900s off the lead.
He's a master of not steering the sled.
Well, at this stage, Ivo de Bruin, who preceded him, was still only 200s off the lead. By this clock, Ivo was 21 hundredths off, Bertazzo's 22 off. So we're looking at a run that might finish in 16th or so, unless he finds more at the bottom. And he has found more, 135.2, 84.1 miles an hour.
It's good speed.
151 flat.
93.8, that's top 6 speed.
That brought him up from 16th, 17th into the top 12.
Wow, boy, is that a log jam?
Yep. He's 400s behind the tie for 10th, which in turn is 400s behind 9th.
Good run for him. 17th best start, 12th best finish. Anytime you improve from your start time to your finish time, you're driving well. 50-50 made it look nameless. A little split in the cowling there.
$18 of our 21 sleds down. 3 more to go, 2 more spots in the race. Francesco Friedrich is the Lanterne Rouge. He is the tail gunner at the moment in 18th place out of 18 sleds. And the target time for the remaining trio is a 52.30 to beat him. Well, this is rookie Dakari Congella. He's got Nick Taylor on the back handles tonight. His brakeman yesterday, Hakim Abdul Sabur, I forgot to beat him up. In training, the first time he hit the brakes, he actually ripped them out of the sled, which then meant they couldn't go again because they couldn't get them back down. They were jams. They had to go to the shop and weld them up. And apparently, according to their coach, Brian Scheimer says that's actually the 3rd time that Hakim has ripped a set of brakes out of a sled. He's got to learn to feather them, he said. So 488 the getaway.
Start, pretty much like they had last night. Nick Taylor, another track athlete from Boise State, recruited by Nick Cunningham, and he should thank,
long skid.
He should thank Cunningham because he ended up marrying bobsledder Alana Myers.
Yeah. Opposed to her at the end of the World Championships in St. Moritz 3 years ago. And that's where they will rejoin forces in 2 weeks from now. Oh, and that's a punishing hit for Dakari Congella and Nick Taylor in the back seat.
Popped up like he came out of a toaster. That was some hard hit.
If he has some pop ribs, I'll be astonished.
Watch out here. Oh, he's fine. He's not going fast enough now. That
Well,
hit.
he is, but he's not being loose with it. He's being very cautious.
Well, he lost 3-4 miles an hour.
Well, he's doing 110, not 150 kilometers an hour. 68, not 80 miles an hour across the line. That was a horrible-looking hit, and Dakari shakes his head. I'm sure Nick Taylor, when he manages to get out of the sled, will be shaking his as well, but...
Well, they're both up and at him. And
he's a World Cup rookie. It's only his second race in his first ever race weekend.
Driving an older... But look at
height and hauls it off. He knows he's in trouble. And
look at that picture.
But if he hadn't hauled it off, they would have just fallen off the top there. That would have been an ugly crash.
Is that a Luder's loop? In the back end of the sled, that's why they call it Luder's loop, because the back end of the sled was coming down.
They would have looped. They would have landed on their heads, not on their runners. Well, that was a bumpy landing for Dakari Congella.
Here comes some fun.
Next up is Billy Myanhs with Nikolai Ekimov, or Hannibal and Kalashnikov, as they prefer to be known.
The 18, and like we say, the driver's 48 years young.
Team Rico Pater tied for 7th. Yesterday, Billy, a 16th place finish in the two-man. That was an extraordinarily good performance.
Decent start.
See if they can do that again. 496. Well, they start last night. 496 as well.
600's back. You know, good lines. Did great last week in the four-man. And, you know, as we say, he wins the award for self-sponsoring himself. He finds more sponsors and presents them all well. Looks like a Formula One driver with his outfit. He's got so many logos on.
135.1 here yesterday. Let's see what the speed looks like now.
This is pretty
134.
good.
This is another good run. 17th position at the moment. He had great speed at the bottom few corners. Can he hold it together again?
Yeah, he's going to do it.
Is he going to climb another spot or two across the line? 17th.
Wolfgang Stomper on the right. I said to Wolfgang, you guys celebrate a lot last night. He said, only the coaches.
Yesterday, the first run, 52.2. Today, 51.9. So 3/10 better he's gone in one day of learning.
Everybody's coming down this track faster.
Track's quicker, but he's more experienced here too.
Everybody's got their own personal best speeds. Look at the rudder tips here, end of Luder's loop. And a little bit of some action and chicane. Quiet entry here into what they call the lengths, 9 and 10.
Drive lines are not at all bad. Started out as a brakeman for Martin Annan, started driving after the 2002 games, and then took a long while off to build his business. Our final slider is Heath Spence of Australia, with Lachlan Reedy, their target to beat Dakari Congella and Nick Taylor of the USA, who are 2 seconds off the lead. So the target time is no longer that of Francesco Friedrich. It is that of Dakari Congella. If I'd written it down, that would have been an awful lot more use.
Well, if they do what they did last night, they were about 1.89 or something out of the lead. So if they stay within that 2-second frame, they'll have a second run.
They need a 53.30. Last night's first run was a 53.50.
Well, he told me
could do it.
He changed runners. He said he had runners on last night that they were supposed to be fast, and now he's delegated them to be their practice runners. And he's got some race runners on he's got confidence in. Boy, he didn't steer in that curve.
That's a better exit. Let's see if he can guide Dorothy down. He started 20th. He's in 21st at the moment.
Dorothy because of the red shoes and the sled.
Red slipper's exactly right, and he's got more speed on board than Dakari Congella, who only had 110 kilometers an hour at this stage.
He'll be 20.
He's in 20th place at the moment. He will make the cut, and across the line, he is in 20th, 52.82. He makes it by half a second, and there his former brakeman, Lucas Matter, who's now driving, gives the big thumbs up. Lucas was in the team. Yes, they're in it. They only got an email on Friday saying, yeah, all right then, you can compete. They got here a day late after driving through the night, working Tuesday when everybody else was training.
Told me he's leaving tonight for Calgary.
Yeah,
midnight.
He's got to get back to work.
Good lines here, 50-50, not a problem. Look at the runner tips. The Dorothy slippers look like they came off there okay.
Yeah, done all right. Sled looks good with an iconic image of the Sydney Opera House on it.
Well, again, for the second consecutive night, guess who's the leader?
Alexander Kashnoff of Russia with Alexei Pushkarev behind him pushing. And they lead a narrow margin, 400ths ahead of 2 Canadians. We've had a Canadian winner in bobsled already. Kaylee Humphries won the women's race. And there's only 800ths covering the top 3, 12 down to 5th. 2/10, well, a quarter of a second takes you down to 8th. There could be some serious changes. Last night's winners, Rico Peda is 7th, Yoon Jung-won of Korea, 9th. They're not going to stand on the top step tonight, are they? We'll have a different winner here in race 2, but who will it be? It's going to be hard to tell.
Well, we had 5 different nations so far win gold medals in 4 events because of the double gold tie. And tonight, well, maybe we'll have a 6th different nation, but how the leaderboard a little shaken up from last night.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the Canadians are looking strong. Don't count out those 2 Latvian sleds in 4th and 5th either, just 100th apart. He's Stephen Holcomb. Could he get in the middle medals? Yes, he could. Will he? There's only one way to find out. Will Alexander Kashnoff hold on for his 2nd ever World Cup win? He's won one in 4-man. Now can he win one in 2-man? There's only one way to find out. Join Dakarai Congella and Nick Taylor and the rest of the audience waiting for the 2nd heat. We'll be back live with all the action in just over half an hour's time. Join us trackside here in Whistler to see the final race of the weekend decided.